Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Friday Five here on Tanookidooki. Today we're going to be talking about more board games. This is a sequel to last week's Friday Five episode where I talked about my top 5 easy to get into, quick and dirty kind of board games. For people specifically that aren't really into board games, that would be a good place to start. This week we'll be talking about my top 5 more strategic board games. These are games that seasoned players will love. But even new players could easily get into. There's some familiar faces in this list, but there should be some that maybe you haven't heard of as well. So, hope you guys enjoy. Up first is a game called Citadels. This game is for 2 to 8 players and lasts about 20 to 60 minutes. It's by Fantasy Flight Games, so it's a slightly bigger company. You may have heard this or seen this at your local game stores, but it's really fun. Every single turn, you are randomly choosing a different role to play, and those roles have different benefits. So you might be an assassin one turn, and you get to basically kill another role, taking them, completely to where they can't do anything that turn, in addition to doing whatever you want to do that turn. The basic premise of the game is that you are a medieval ruler and you're trying to build up your city before the other people build up their cities. It's pretty quick paced. The rounds don't take very long, but it does have a lot kind of to each role and can take a little bit of time to kind of master. You have to be strategic and guess what other people are going to pick for their roles and kind of decide a game plan. You have to build your city with different colored cards and things like that, and each city piece is worth a different amount of gold based on how much it costs to build it. It's really fun, pretty addicting. Highly recommend you guys check it out. Up next is a game you guys may not have heard of. This game, I believe, was funded on Kickstarter. I'm not positive on that, though. If it wasn't, at least some expansions were. It's a game called Crossmaster Arena. This game is basically, if you've ever played a tactical role-playing game, it's that, but a board game. I really loved Final Fantasy Tactics growing up, and really any tactical game, I played the hell out of them. This game is that. It's really fun. It's kind of like the PvP modes in those games to where you're fighting against the other people. There's a couple different expansions for it. There's a bunch of different little characters you can get. And I think there might even be an online version called tanookidooki or something. It's 2 to 4 players, takes 45 to 60 minutes, tons of replayability because there are so many different characters. Now this set only comes with 8 characters in it. And the characters are basically like these little figures, which are super highly detailed. I don't know if you can see that. But each character has different traits and attributes that kind of go into how it plays. And you build a team, and it has a system built in to where somebody can't have a super overpowered team because each of these characters has basically a power value associated with them. And these are just 4 that came with the set. I have a bunch more. They've even recently come out with another version of Crossmaster called Crossmaster Quest, which is supposed to be a standard level in a Final Fantasy Tactics game where you're working together with a group of people to kind of do a common goal. It's really fun. Crossmaster Quest I haven't played yet, but if it's anything like Crossmaster Arena, it's going to be high on my list. This is a really fun game. The art style is great. You guys really should check it out. Now this is a game you guys have probably heard of, and one that some could argue could easily be on my previous list. And it almost made it there, but I already had 5 games for that list that I picked out. And this one can be a little more strategic, and it is Ticket to Ride. There's many versions of this game. You can pick this game up in Target. There's Ticket to Ride Europe, Ticket to Ride New York, all these different ones. I just have the base Ticket to Ride. It's 2 to 5 players, roughly 30 to 60 minutes. And the idea is you are basically controlling train routes, and you'll get these little cards that say, you have to go from, in this one, it's the US, so maybe I have to go from New York to California. and I have to kind of build my way out there. But the problem is other people are building the same time, and they can kind of guess which routes I'm going on and maybe block me. And maybe then I can't complete my route, which negatively affects me at the end of the game. The longer the route, the more points you get. It's really fast paced because the turns go like that. This is probably one of my top board games. If people come over and we aren't sure what to play, this is the one I always pick because it's so easy to get into. I just wish it was 6 players. Maybe there's a version that is. If you guys know, let me know in the comments, please. This game is so fun. You got to check it out if you haven't. And if you're not sure and want to look into it more, you can watch Will Wheaton on his tabletop show. He did an episode with this, and that show's great. It's super easy to watch. They make, sometimes the monotony in board games of everybody going around can kind of be boring, but they're telling jokes the whole time. They have famous celebrities on there. It's a good time. And they did an episode on this game, which is why I bought it. At first you think, trains, it's maybe kind of boring, but no. This is a must. Pick it up, guys. This game is one of my favorite of all time, and I know I just said that about Ticket to Ride, but this one is so fun and so much replayability. Ticket to Ride, yeah, you're doing different routes every time. This game is completely different every time. It is Small World. This game, super fun. What you're doing is conquering different lands, and you're doing that with different races, and each race will have a randomized special power. So the game is completely different every time because everything's randomized, and you're conquering land. There's tons of races, so here's like some of them. I don't know if you guys can see all that, but there's a ton of races. There's Amazons and dwarves and orcs and ratmen and skeletons and wizards. There's tons, and there's a bunch of different expansions for this too. Some of the expansions are a little some of the races weren't quite balanced, but they can still be fun. But if you don't have the game at all, definitely get the original. And there's different powers that affect things. So there's maybe you get bonuses for conquering forests or for conquering farms, or maybe you just get bonus coins every round. It's just really fun. I don't know what else to say. It's 2 to 5 players, 40 to 80 minutes, so it's a little bit longer. It's such a good time, like knocking off stuff that people were like working towards building. That's part of the fun, is all the joking around and pissing people off sometimes. It's a great game. Check it out. Number 1 on my list. You gotta check this game out. It is called Smash Up. And I'm only showing the booklet for this, and I'll show you why in a second. There's tons of expansions for this game. What this game is you are combining different races. Each race has different powers, and you're trying to overtake bases. I know that sounds kind of similar to Small World, but the difference is the races in this, you're kind of stuck with for the whole game. Whereas Small World, you might be dwarfs for a little while, and then you kind of run out of tokens, and it doesn't make sense to be dwarfs anymore, so you get to pick a different race. This one, you're mashing it up at the beginning, and you're sticking with them. Each race has different powers that kind of benefit you in different ways and hurt people in different ways, different types of cards. The combinations are endless, especially once you get all the expansions. I don't have all the expansions. I have the base set, I have the science fiction double feature, and I have the obligatory Cthulhu set. There's a ton more. There's, in the base set, you can be pirate ninjas, for example. How cool is that? Or you can be Martian gnomes. The turns go super quick. This game, unfortunately, I don't have the thing, but I put it probably in the same range as the other ones, where it's, roughly 20 to 40 minutes. It's 2 to 4 players. You can play with more, especially if you get the expansions. But like most games, if you kind of go outside of that sweet spot that they recommend, then it might be a little weird. So if you have more people, maybe break into 2 groups. It's a card game, which is how it differs a little bit from Small World. You're also not really conquering lands. You're kind of more conquering bases. and basically you want to be the last person to overtake that base. Other people might be helping to overtake that base, thinking that they're going to be the last one, but then you come kind of swoop in and steal it. It's really fun. You guys got to check this out. It's number 1 on my list for a reason. All right, guys, so that's my list. Those are my top 5 more strategic board games, again, that I own. I know there's a bunch more board games out there. Just started having a board game nights this past week, and we tried Betrayal at House on the Hill, which I thought was super fun. I didn't end up winning, unfortunately. I was the traitor, and we were doing like the Frankenstein scenario, if you guys have played it, and they burned me right up. I kind of fell for their trap, and that's how it goes when you're playing a new game, I guess. But these games are all super fun. Please check them out. If you guys have any other ideas for future Friday Fives, please leave it in the comments below. I do have some other ideas based off feedback I got from the first one I did. And there's a whole playlist as well. If you missed any of the Friday Fives, be sure to check them out. I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.